Hey there! Welcome to Supergirl, Season 2, Episode 19. Alex here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is AFTERBUZZ TV. We're doing Supergirl Season 2, Episode 19. I'm joined by a wonderful panel. Same panel as always. To my left, yep, that's what this is. It's Stephanie Wenger.
Hi guys, good to be back with you. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and all over the internet at Stephanie Wenger.
Lex Michael.
Hi, I'm Lex Michael. I'm all over social media at the Lex Michael.
Joelle Monique.
Hi, Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and everything at blackgirlnerds.com. Our friend Lucretia is not here today. We love her. You can always find her online at
Lucretia Lion.
Yes, because there's only one, that thing.
Yep.
And I'll be in the chat today trying to keep up with you guys and do stuff. But we're glad to hear. I'm excited.
Neat. And I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me at Tauri J. It's Tauri-Jay. And this music you're hearing now is the Saw theme because this was a very Saw-like episode.
Saw-ish.
We had a person in captivity. We had water traps. We had interrogations. We had negotiations. All the Asians.
Voice modulated phone call?
Yes. Voice modulation. Yes.
Yes.
So, what did you guys think about the episode in general? And then we'll get into some specifics.
Yeah.
You had thoughts, Joelle?
I did have thoughts. After last week's glorious rise of Supergirl that listens, this week felt like a huge step back. I was like, what happened to listen and thinking, Kara? Her sister's in danger, so I get it. But it was frustrating the whole time. I'm just like, if you listen to one person, Kara, just one, think of the headaches you could save yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was really an interesting episode. Obviously, it was all driven by this Alex being captured, but really the interpersonal relationships and the way that played out was by far the most compelling part of the episode for me.
Yeah,
all of that stuff really did work for me. All of the internal business that we got within this episode as a self-contained story, I thought really worked. And the stuff that didn't work for me, it's not so much that it didn't work, it's just that, for example, this episode is built around the big question of, okay, are they going to be able to work together and save Alex in time? And I'm going, Alex is so integral to the DNA of this show that if they're going to kill off a character of such importance, I don't buy that this is how it's going to happen. So on a meta level, I never really bought, okay, we're 4 episodes out from the season finale. I feel like now is not the night we're going to off one of our series regulars. But once I took that and compartmentalized it a bit, all of the individual pieces, all of the questions that were raised, and even the specific push-pull between Kara and Maggie, I thought was very interesting when viewed as its own self-contained
Captain
thing.
Shock in the chat says, I thought it was nice that the story evolved around Alex in this episode. And I liked that too. I liked seeing Maggie and Kara show their individual types of love for Alex. And Alex has been such an integral part, as you mentioned, and she's still kind of in the background. It's nice to have like an Alex-centered story.
I just think it's really rare on a show like this. I agree with you that they're not going to kill off somebody like her. Like, it would be like, we would already know in some way, like she was going to another project, or it's just like, it would become very clear that she, as an actress, was leaving the show. I can't imagine it being on an episode like this and also giving her that kind of send-off that's so awful. I felt so bad for the actress. Like, having to film that had to be pretty terrible.
I can't imagine that was the most fun day of shooting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
Wait, in the water? What are you guys talking about? Which part?
The water.
Oh, dude, no, that's totally awesome. It's a stunt day, which is really cool.
Oh, you do get a nice bump for that.
That's true.
It's true.
And actually, when she's pressed up against the top of it going like, it's not like Kyler Lee is actually about to drown. They probably can drop it for a second or raise the grate. It's like, take all the breaths you want and then just act like you're dying. We're just going to lower the grate a half an inch and you're dying now. Go.
Let me clarify. I know she's absolutely not in danger. I just would not want, I feel like all day in that, like, I'm sure she got out. I'm not saying she was at all.
No, Kyler's gone now. This is her last day on set.
Let's clarify this. I just mean, I feel like it is a long day.
She's probably very pruny by the end of it.
Yes, I would
In the same way we hear actors talk about either being in the rain or like from Titanic when the water was just really freaking cold. It looks fun, not so much in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you guys brought up Kara and Maggie's relationship, or at least them working together this episode. And I really like how we started, where we get the two different perspectives of essentially law enforcement from the police side and also from the Kara Danvers Supergirl side.
I genuinely enjoyed that this question as a point of contention between the two of them really came up as it might in reality over dinner, where it's an innocuous conversation, maybe a couple of them had a couple of drinks, and they just have a totally honest, legit difference of opinion, but it just, somebody says exactly the wrong thing and things suddenly get tense and blow out of proportion. It's like, this could happen. Again, it's like so many scenes on the show this season. This could happen in a world with no superpowers at all. It's incredibly human and incredibly believable.
Even looking at the way they presented the situation with the hostage negotiations, where you get the sense that Maggie's been out there, as she says later, for hours working this guy over, and she's like, look, you don't have to do it. You're so close, you can just calm down. Like, Supergirl's like, bam, knock down the wall. Here you go. Out to dinner. Come on, let's go. Slowpoke, move your ass. Like, I totally get Maggie's sense of frustration of being like, you just have no respect for what I'm doing down here, do you, at all? Like, you don't even care.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you do feel that difference between the way, like, Maggie's always kind of by the book, and that's been her character from the get-go. And then you have Supergirl, who kind of plays outside the lines, and that was really the debate between them. And I agree, it was like a family dinner. That's where those kinds of things happen, but it's about such a, like, out-of-this-world topic, but very relatable in real life.
And what would the presence of somebody like Supergirl with these godlike abilities, how then, as a police officer trying to do actual police work, how do you do your job when somebody can just fly in and, like Maggie was pointing out, like obliterate possibly weeks of well-laid groundwork that you've laid to get to a result?
Yeah.
Well, and you think about the hours spent and the hours wasted, and anyone would be frustrated by that, even if Supergirl, and I never doubt that Supergirl has the best of intentions.
Of course.
But it's definitely one of those things about how you go about it, and you could see that fundamentally they were in different places.
Yeah, and I like that they brought up the idea that even though Supergirl is doing good, she's also a point of contention in the courtroom, and that she's basically a defense that people use to get out scot-free. So the same people she's putting away are just walking away because she's been rough and unable to defend herself.
Well, and you're not getting your rights read when Supergirl comes to pick you up. Like, it's not a due process part of law. You're just kind of thrown in jail, and then the cops just have to go based off whatever evidence she happens to bring them or not bring them. Like, I could definitely see you being like, well, that does not count.
Right, and Supergirl is not a duly appointed officer of the law. You know what I mean? It's not, if Supergirl brings you in by herself, there's a very legitimate question there as to how lawful is that arrest in the first place.
Yeah. And like I was watching Superman Returns this weekend.
Ooh.
And there's that moment where they keep asking Lex Luthor how he got out, and it's because Superman never showed up to the hearing.
He was called as a witness, right? And he doesn't show up because he's off in space looking for Krypton or whatever he's doing. And so like on a technicality, essentially, Luthor walks.
Yeah, and that is essentially going off en masse in this world, which is really interesting, especially as a police officer. This is like the equivalent of like the FBI swooping in on every bust you're doing, but then never showing up to do any of the due process pieces.
And also the FBI can fly.
Yes.
Just all of them can just swoop in and swoop out. No planes. Just looking great in suits. It's like the Matrix all the time.
Oh yeah, it's pretty sweet.
But like the third one. Where they're all wearing suits and flying.
Less sweet.
Exactly.
Shots fired.
Exactly. And that is the backbone of the argument in tonight's episode. Because who wants a world that is only Matrix 3?
Oh, I like that chat has some things to say. They're like, technically she works for the DEO, which is a government organization. So while they don't work directly with the police and they're a secret government organization though, so really she should be bringing them to like a federal agency as opposed to the local forces.
I like that idea. I think that's really interesting, but I think the issue is the secret part of it. Because if they're going to court, the courts may not know the existence of the DEO or Supergirl's relationship to it. I think that's probably where the problem comes
it's not like the Flash where they have like a meta Guantanamo where they can just take people and be like, there's no due process here. We just decide you're in prison until we decide to release you.
But that I feel like makes all of the difference, because you're dealing with, on the Flash, you're dealing with metas. You're dealing with people that are far too great a threat for the average, even en masse, law enforcement to deal with. They're not equipped to. These people have essentially magic freaking powers. But with Supergirl, yes, she's equipped to deal with all of those threats, and I think that's where she's best employed. But when you're actually dealing with flesh and blood criminals, especially when you've got like the muscle of this shadow government agency behind you, I feel like, yeah, having an operative like that who can act however she pleases, more or less, despite her best intentions, for the men and women of the police force trying to do like honest above board police work, that's gotta be a nightmare.
Oh yeah. I mean, and one would hope that this episode leads to more cooperation between Supergirl and the police. I mean, she has a liaison right there. I mean, I'm sure Maggie would hate to go from being a field agent to like a superhero babysitter, but like I would think that would benefit everyone.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think in these final, are we down to 3 episodes?
I think we got 3 more.
3 more. So 3 more episodes. I would love to see that, like, the relationship between Maggie and Kara kind of evolve a bit, because I feel like right now they have 2 different ideas of kind of how to deal with like criminals, as well as kind of how to deal with Alex, and I hope by Alex going through this terrible thing in this episode, we kind of get something positive out of it.
It would be really cool to see, like, we see Maggie try to step up and into Kara's shoes a lot. Not in that she has superpowers, but just in that she's joining in those adventures. It would be really cool to see Kara take a step back and maybe do, like, an undercover journalist report from, like, a police perspective, where she's got, like, just the regular beat uniform on, and she's, like, following Maggie around.
Yeah.
And she can't use her powers. She's got to use, like, actual detective skills. That'd be fun as hell.
Yeah, that'd be nifty. And we get a little bit of the bridging between the 2 of them as they're trying to crack this case. We get the interrogation scenes where Supergirl is trying to brute force her way into getting the information, and we have Maggie on the other side trying to, you know, use her skills to get information from Rick, also known as Ricky. And I thought that was a really nice way of showcasing their different skills and how they approach these situations. But now that I've brought up Rick, I want to talk about him a little bit.
Okay.
Because I found him to be a very interesting character. Especially for being a regular human. Like,
Yes.
we don't get very many regular people who are actual threats. Like, he is almost, I would say, like a Lex Luthor level villain in this episode.
And I thought it was interesting, too, that you get little bits of his backstory, right? And it seems like he was the victim of very real trauma that wasn't his fault at all. He's just not dealing with it very well.
Right.
I really like that we get a character who isn't just evil for the sake of being evil. Like, so we get a lot of aliens who are just mad. They're like, I was in prison and now I'm gonna kill you because of what your parents did to me, which is fair and valid, but a little out there. I like that we have a guy who survived trauma that Supergirl couldn't protect him from when she was young, and is now using the best of his knowledge to save the only person who was ever there for him. And even though it's all like an ugly and very gray situation, I also feel like these are the kinds of problems I want Supergirl dealing with. Because the clear cut stuff, it can be fun, and we get like these amazing pieces of dialogue from her with like these feminist messages, which is a whole lot of fun. But I think when I think of superhero, I think of those really complicated issues that you can't necessarily solve in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. And it's a far more relatable story, that, as fun as it is, than look at her punch the spaceship.
Yes.
Look at it go. Look at
Which
it
I
explode.
like those episodes.
Those are amazing. But yeah, and I like to. His father is played by Greg Henry, who's a character actor with this massive, crazy long resume. Dude, like this dude's resume is crazy stacked. He's done a lot of movies with De Palma. He was in Body Double. He was the one who wore all the prosthetic makeup. That movie's bonkers. But yeah, so I always love seeing Greg Henry turn up, and he turns up all over the place in random parts here and there. So it's always fun to see him. But yeah, like the motivation hinging on this incredibly real, incredibly human. Again, something that you don't need superpowers to tell this specific story. This is almost as close to home as you can get when you're telling a story of this type. And I thought that's, again, like, bravo. That's very well done.
Yeah. Though I will say,
all right, let's go.
That
you got beef?
I got a little beef, and it's not like it's not even like a writing beef. It's literally a beef with the character, in that he spent this year stalking these 2 girls, and then But he could have spent that year, I don't know, learning the law, trying to help his dad get out of prison legally. But he's like, you know what? I'm gonna use all these resources and all this like tech know-how, and I'm just gonna, I'm gonna blackmail this superhero.
I
That's how he
think
talks.
when you're getting to a point of blackmailing a superhero, though, and you're expecting logic from this character, that might be a problem. Like,
That's the thing. Like, once you've made up your mind
Yeah.
that this is what you're going to do, you have fully decided it for yourself in your most private moments. I feel like you're not really giving a whole lot of thought to like, I could get a law degree instead.
I
with
need
all
to
this
learn
time
the law
and energy.
and pass the bar, and then go into practicing, and then get your father's case through court. It's going to take much longer than a year.
So much longer.
Yeah, or there's also companies that like specialize in helping get people.
But that costs money, and you know what doesn't? Stalking. Like, all you need is a 7-Eleven run and a little bit of gas money, and you're good. You just lay low in your car, you like get on that police radio and be like, oh, Supergirl's over here. I'm sure she's got like a hashtag that people are like, Supergirl sightings. It'd be really easy
You
to
don't
stalk
think
her.
he racked up debt, like buying all those snacks, buying all the like
He really
binoculars, buying that elaborate
Doesn't need
tank
diamonds,
that he
dude.
needed?
Like, he just buys like beef jerky and whatnot, and he sits there, he's got some trail mix, it's cheap, it's like $3. He's good for the evening.
I do wish we had gotten a little bit of explanation as to like, there might be one place that he would have taken her. And I'm like, what is this place between you and your son? Like, is it an old garage? Is it like a place where you're doing science experiments?
that was my bigger issue, was I felt like there was some holes in like, okay, so he explained that he knew who Supergirl was because he like saw her in middle school. Like, I just wanted to know, I guess, a little bit more about that backstory, and also like, obviously he was, or like he claims he was abused by his mother, and so he went to his father. I just had a lot of questions about kind of the, I guess, like his deeper reasons for this, and that was not really answered in the episode.
I mean, he just wanted a hug from his dad. He wanted like a real long.
No,
hug
I understand
forever.
that he wanted his dad out of prison and wanted to be reunited with him, but I just had questions about it, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, like, in an hour episode that they could have solved them. Do you know what I mean? It just, I had, like...
I mean, my major question is just like, what was that one place? There's one place he might have gone, and there's no clue previously about like, oh, we did like science together, or like we're, I don't know.
We used to hang out at a warehouse with a water tank
Why
in the
do you
basement
have that?
because we were that family.
What?
Every town has that family. The
Totally.
water tank basement
This is-
dungeon
Do they
family.
really,
This is the place where
though?
we hid out when the cops first started looking for Dad. Like, I feel like there's a lot of stories that could have been told in that. It's minimal.
I'm sure there was like a cut scene where he was like, "Yeah, we found it because that's where his dad was busted," or that's where
this could have been 2 episodes for me. Like, I had enough questions where I could have done it over the course of 2 episodes and gotten some more answers.
Interesting.
I
mean,
it.
do you guys
just
think?
a Ricky and Dad spinoff? It's just the Water Dungeon family. This fall on the CW.
Guys, we always get creepy. It's
Sometimes you just got a water dungeon, you know?
sorry. I'm so sorry, but every week.
It's where you keep your eels. It's
Oh
where
my God.
You know, you just hang out.
It took a real turn, guys.
You're the one who wants a whole show of this.
No, I just have questions. That's it.
And we're giving you all the answers that you could want.
All right.
And
well.
then some, and then some, and then some.
All right. Well. Glad that web series,
man.
guys.
I also liked all the different methods that they tried using to get Rick to give up the goat. Like, they had Martian Manhunter come in there. They
John's trick didn't work. How crazy was that?
But I do appreciate that if he's been watching them for this long and he's put this much time into his plan, then it would have occurred to him that you have a shapeshifter that works for you, and I should probably, if you're giving me anything and it feels just a touch too easy, shapeshifter.
Right.
Also, not for nothing, we had captions on for the majority of the episode, and that really fun sound that they do, like when Jean changes form, the caption reads, in parentheses, shape-shifting. I like it.
It's great. There was also a moment where Mon-El whispered sorry, and it just said mouthing. So that was helpful. Ultimately, like, since all of their efforts failed, like Maggie decided to take everything into her own hands and it started busting him out of prison, son. She was using gadgets, she was using guns, and then she had to be talked down by Supergirl.
I love all of the moments where they're teaching each other in these very kind of quick, because Alex's life is in danger, so we've got to be fast lessons, but they're impactful for how quick they happen. Like, even Supergirl running off and being like, I don't want to listen to Maggie's like, that guy didn't lose, though. Like, he's trying to tell her, she's like, it's gonna be fine, and now her sister's gonna end up drowning alone in a cage. And then you've got, and then Maggie's flaw is that she always, when things get tough, she's like, I'll just do it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she always just discards the group and is like, it's cool, I'm super, and I can just handle it myself. And I love that we finally get to address that, and that it's Supergirl who's always the team player coming to her and being like, look, you could sit down, and we could talk, we could figure it out. The missing key was right in front of us the whole time. We just had to get Dad to do it.
Yeah.
We're fools. I like them coming together. They make a good team.
They really do. And I really liked that moment where Maggie called Supergirl out about her feelings being just as legitimate as Supergirl's. I felt like that was a very needed moment because we've all had, I don't know if you guys have siblings, so I can't say we've all had siblings. But like,
I grew up in a water dungeon.
oh, sweet. Well, say your water dungeon starts dating someone. It's really hard to like try to balance your time between the water dungeon, spending time with its new significant other, and you. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
it doesn't even,
they're not very big dungeons.
No.
But it doesn't even have to be a sibling. It can be a friend starts dating somebody new. Everybody's been in that situation where it changes the relationship you have with the person.
Yup.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
This new person stealing time.
Yeah.
My person. What's happened?
And it's not necessarily bad, but it's definitely like figuring out where you stand and all of that. And I felt like this episode did a very good job of looking at that issue.
Yeah, and all season long we've seen conflicts that are born of an inability or an unwillingness of two sides to find common ground. And I love that. Yeah, not that Maggie and Kara ever had an openly contentious relationship, but there was always a little bit of, like how what is our dynamic here? And finally, in a crisis, it took losing this incredibly precious thing that they have in common to finally make them open up and really hear each other and learn from each other ultimately. And I thought, like, not only again is the internal story being told here really working, but it also is very in line with types of stories that we've been seeing this season.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really, I'm just sorry. That was really well put. But and also it led to one of, I'd say, the best moments in this episode, where we get that sweet, sweet "I love you" with Alex and Maggie.
I straight almost started crying.
Guys.
Like, no joke, I actually almost started to cry.
It was so emotional. I had feelings, like real, oh my god, like life goals, friendship goals, like relationship goals. And what I thought for a moment was proposal goals, but it felt like a proposal without rings.
Yeah, we call those proposals.
Yeah, I hope we get a proposal. I know it's like lightningly fast, but I hope we get a proposal here in the.
I mean, I don't want to
maybe.
be stereotypical, but lesbians. They do it faster. They're just like,
okay.
You guys ever heard of U-Haul lesbians?
I'm glad that there was like
It's a real
follow-up
thing.
to that.
Yeah.
U-Haul lesbianism is a real thing. Sometimes the ladies meet, they got lots of feelings together, and then they're like, we're getting married, we're putting rings on it.
Do we know, and maybe someone in the chat can help answer this question, do we know more or less how much time has elapsed this season?
It feels like a very short amount of time.
Man, they are already on this.
It feels
because
like
sometimes I feel like we're meant to treat. Occasionally, I feel like week to week we're meant to feel like this is more or less real time.
Right.
Like a week has passed, and then in certain other cases that's obviously not the case. So I am fuzzy on.
Ken from Chicago was saying, maybe 10 months, been a couple of months.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's almost real time, with the exception of they're not missing the chunk of time that we have the month hiatus in March. I think that they blew through that.
They don't all shut down and go stand in little cubbies.
Cease functioning, and they all just stop. That was
Yeah.
a Westworld joke, guys.
Ah.
Westworld. Here, I'll spoil it for you. All right, we start. Okay. Anyways.
No, I just think like it seems like between like 4 to 6 months if I had to guess. I don't know. Not super long though. I feel like last season it was a little bit longer.
Peter Watson agrees with you, or Watson, excuse me, says 6 months. Some people are saying nearly 10 months. It's Stevie Elmer. So what we're getting at is like between like half a year and 3/4 of a year.
Yeah.
Is where is our time trajectory, which and that's how fast I did my parents' team, right? They did it for 6 months, and they were like, "We're done."
Some
Get
people,
married.
some
No,
people
I mean,
just know.
Yeah, you like when you know apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Apparently, guys know after 2 months. That's what the experts say.
I think it'll be a while.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Who says this? Who are these people?
Yeah,
We'll
right?
bring you books.
If you're stuck on a desert island and you're for 2 months and you're like, this is either the person or it's not.
Nah, yep.
But anyways,
We're on this island, so we got to figure something out.
Yeah. I was saying something and I completely lost it.
Oh, no.
Because love. I doubt that we are going to get a proposal this season, mostly because we only just now got the first I love you. So I think that's like a very big milestone. So I think they'll kind of put off.
Maybe that's a
anything
season
else.
3
Yeah.
situation.
Like maybe first episode of season 3 and then the
I'll
whole
be so
season.
sad. I want them to stay together though. I don't want the I love yous to go the opposite. I feel like on CW shows, I love yous are kind of, it can go either direction after that.
Are they kryptonite to the relationship?
No saving this show now. Dead face crying on the paper 'cause I'm dead.
Speaking of dead, are you dying of laughter right now? Because we are. And you know what? Segues, guys. It's real good. We have a lot of fun on this on the show. Not just this episode, every episode. And we hope that you're having fun. And you know how you can tell us how you're having fun? You can go down to the comments of iTunes and you can leave a review saying how fun we are. Or you can go onto YouTube, give us a thumbs up, and then leave a comment there on any episode you like and let us know how awesome we are. Or if you think that I'm being creepy, you can also tell me that. But yeah, so the best way to communicate your love for the show is to go onto YouTube and go onto iTunes. I think we're also on Stitcher if you're a Stitcher person. And give positive reviews because it really helps our show pop to the top of the charts, which helps other people find it, which helps the show continue to go.
And we definitely read all of your comments too, and we will comment back or say hi, whatever. So even just if you want to say hi to us, we're here to say hi back.
Yeah. We usually read them here on the show.
We're trying.
Lex is getting it up.
He's
We're
trying
getting
so
it.
hard, but technology
We're
is not technologizing.
It's true. Technology is bad. Except for the technology that you're using to listen to this on, which is Stitcher or iTunes or YouTube. Yep.
You
Hey,
got a
what's
sexy
up?
review?
We have reviews from a year ago. No, these aren't the ones we're looking for.
Bro.
We're gonna try and sort that. You just vamp for an hour or
I've
so,
been vamping.
and we're
All
just
right.
gonna figure
And
this
so
out over here.
Sometimes what we do is we will read them in a really sexy voice to the sounds of jazz, which our engineer will sometimes prepare, and sometimes we'll make the jazz noises with our mouths because we're really that cool.
Why don't we just save our reviews for next week?
No, I'm doing all the vamping.
No?
No.
Peter Watson
it's fine.
in the
We'll do
chat
it.
says this is the best show ever. And, yeah, Bex G says, I love this part of the after show. I don't know how much you're loving this part of this after show, but we're glad you like it.
Oh,
April. Man. Wait a minute. Thursday.
Okay.
No.
We'll do
Which
do it
Thursday?
Right before predictions. We're gonna come back to these reviews right before predictions.
Sounds like
All
a
right.
plan.
So we're gonna get those ready right before predictions, and we're gonna do some sweet reviews right before predictions.
Who in the chat wants to screen cap our actions?
Oh jeez. Oh, there's that jazz.
Oh, man.
Hey guys. I know you're reviewing stuff, and we're having a little technical difficulties, and it's okay, because we know that you love us, and we love you too, girl. And we're gonna do our review right before predictions. So we're gonna keep this jazz ready and queued up, because right before predictions, we're gonna do our thing. So for right now, we're gonna cut that baby off, and we're gonna talk about some Rhea and Lena, my two favorite A-ending names.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last week we left off with Rhea approaching Lena, and she's like, "I have a proposal." And this week we find out that it's for the same teleportation device we had earlier in the season that led to the slave planet. And so we get a really cool business lady Rhea.
Yes.
Rhea?
Rhea.
I've been calling her Lady Voldemort because I prefer not to use her name. She angers me so. Like, you stabbed your husband in the back, and now you're turning poor
Literally.
sweet Lena into I know that I've been rooting for Lena to go evil, but that's because I love beautiful evil ladies. I don't want her to become evil because somebody else is pushing her into it.
Right.
And I'm nervous she's switching to the dark side.
So, well, there was the moment where she caught Rhea in her lies. They're at dinner, and Rhea brings up, she uses the phrase, thank the gods, plural.
Right.
Which could mean that she's Greek. You don't know. Come on, Lena. But she really cleverly uses the alien detector to
Yes.
figure out if she is true.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good instinct on her part, I guess in that capacity, but then you see that she's still working with her, so I guess yeah.
Yeah, well, so that part I found really interesting because it felt like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like she could have been under some kind of mind control. Not to predict or anything, but like she went
In that
very
final
starkly,
scene,
yeah.
just as a clarification. Okay.
Isn't that a bummer too? That it seems like, and there's a part of me that's like, Lena, come on, girl, you know better.
Yeah.
You know better. Just get your girl on the phone. Just get your girl on the phone first. Don't make these deals. So like, maybe. But isn't it a bummer that like, although it's clever, because if you had to contrive a scenario where that conversation doesn't happen, because the second she talks to Kara about it, Rhea's cover is blown completely.
Right.
The second they have one conversation. And I think Kara, in almost any other circumstance, would prioritize that conversation. Unless she was in the middle of a spaceship fight.
Right.
She'd be like, I'm Supergirl. I got a sec. What up? And they would talk about it, and that wouldn't happen. But because it's literally her sister's life is on the line. That is the one thing I think would deter her. Would be like, I gotta for a second call you back.
Yeah.
And because that missed connection. Now we got 3 more episodes of just bad things happening to everybody.
I'm with Jamie Nauman in the chat. She says, I think Lena already knows. And I think so too. Like, Lena was like, okay, she's an alien. Okay, she's got this incredible device. And we already saw Lena pull this trick with her mother once. Lena's good at misdirection and scheming until she gets exactly what she needs, and then turning it over to the proper authorities.
Right.
She's pals with Supergirl. Beyond what she knows, she's like, yeah, me and Supergirl sometimes shells me out. So I honestly think she's just playing her cards carefully. Maybe getting as much of the information and technology as she can, putting LexCorp ahead, and then as soon as she gets what she needs, she'll be like, and yeah.
Right, because if she's not under some type of mind control, then all she truly knows about Rhea is that she's lied to her face, blatantly lied to her face at least one time. And I feel like, given what we know about Lena, she's probably gonna remember that. What's happening? Someone's...
Remember how you wanted to see Lena in the suit?
Yeah.
What if she puts it on to fight Rhea?
I want it.
Thank you for the chat. That's a really good visual image for me.
I don't care if she puts it on to watch Grey's Anatomy. I just want it to happen. I just need it there. You can say, CW, I know how expensive that suit probably is. Just have her chill like a stinger at the end of an episode, just eating some chips or some ice cream with Kara. They're having like a girl night. They're watching some shows. She just got the armor on. That's all I need. And
I
will
just
go to
imagine
sleep
your
like a little baby.
devastation if this does not happen. It's going to be really sad for you.
I'm going to carry that torch till I die. I will leave this earth pining for that image. That image alone.
We'll Photoshop it for you on your deathbed.
Thank you. I will leave this earth in peace with a smile. Because that's where I set the bar.
Well, so what do you guys think Rhea's end game is with specifically using Lena? Like, we know that Lena she's a tech genius, but why specifically Lena? Why specifically this teleportation device?
I don't know about the teleportation device. I have to think about that. But I think in terms of using Lena, it's her connections, I would assume, to Lex and all of that. She assumes that it's a way in, and Rhea seems like pure evil to me.
Especially if you're looking to create chaos, not just personally for Supergirl, but presumably, because this tends to be how these villains roll, like for her adopted homeworld as well. I feel like all of the resources that Lena has as a Luthor, whether or not she's directly tied to her family's company anymore, I feel like you want to use as many of those as you can. Then, of course, there's the personal connection, which you can take any type of advantage of to turn the screws. This is a screwdriver that I've got, this pantomime thing right here.
That's what that is.
Yeah,
Not
there's going to be a lot of
just
just 3 episodes of
screwdriver.
just hardware doing some. Yep.
Great.
It's like home improvement in space. Yep.
I'd watch that. I think it's called Firefly.
I feel like Rhea has observed a lot of Supergirl Kara's life and maybe knows that she is friends with Lena. Okay. In the chat, Captain Shock says it seems like Rhea is going to use Lena to capture Supergirl to get Mon-El to go back. Maybe in a similar hostage situation from this episode. If she's got Lena, Supergirl's got to make a choice, and then maybe she can get Mon-El out of there. I don't know. I do not know.
Interesting. So I feel like this is a good bridge into predictions, but before we go to predictions, have we fixed our technological issues?
Nope.
All right. Next week we will read our reviews.
Yes.
So
if we have to, we'll preemptively go and we'll screen cap all of them ourselves just to make sure that next week we can get, because we know that you guys are reviewing us. We really appreciate it. We love you too. We want to make sure that we shout everybody out. But of course, robots are mean in these stories, you guys. They're all mean. Don't trust the robots. So we're gonna. Next week.
We'll definitely work it out for
next
week.
Davey Elmer also has a theory. He says she's using Lena to build the transmitter portal in order to facilitate a Daxamite invasion of Earth, which seems possible. We also saw that a little bit earlier in the season when they had the portal things and they were taking people to the slaver colony.
That sounds like a prediction! Yeah!
And now,
Segue.
your AfterBuzz TV.
Okay, we are two good friends.
What are you guys going to get a comedy duo act together? Get on it. Go to this show.
Next week, in the preview, we see that Rhea has unleashed something upon National City, and so we get a super-powered lady and a super-powered child, and they have glowing purple eyes, and that's the extent of information that we have. We also see Rhea and Supergirl fighting, perhaps to the death.
Well, the first thing I thought when I saw the purple eyes was, is this some type of mind control thing again? And if it is, what's the scale going to be? And I was reminded of last season, we're moving into the finale, as we are now in the next couple weeks. We were introducing, was it Myriad? Myriad, which was a big, like a mass mind control thing. That was the first thought that I had. I doubt very much they're going to do that exact same thing again.
Yes, well, the first time it was controlling humans.
Right.
This time
could
controlling aliens.
Right.
See? It's like a false flag thing. They control aliens, and then they're like, the Daxamites are coming to save you from the aliens.
Well, and
martial law.
Yikes. A lot of water dungeons everywhere. So, but what was interesting is like a lot of the preview for the next episode was a lot of like fighting, a lot of like stuff, to punching and explosions and chaos, which seems a little bit appropriate as now finally 3 episodes out from the finale, all of these disparate plot threads that we've been playing with all season long that are still in play seem to be finally converging. And when that happens, of course, everything's going to go absolutely bonkers. Beyond that, I mean, we know some vague things, some press release stuff that's come out. We know some characters are going to be coming back. We know Hecklin's coming back as Superman. We know Cat Grant's going to be making another appearance. Apparently General Zod is showing up on this program, which bravo for that. But it's like, how do we now, 3 episodes out, how is everybody going to factor into the last couple installments of this season? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There is a chance that we could get a lot of flashbacky stuff. There's a chance that essentially all of these characters converging will be the beginning of a cliffhanger that takes us into the next season.
That's what I would imagine where it's going. I feel like we're going in for a big cliffhanger at the end of the season.
It seems like we're getting into a lot of cyclical plots, things coming full circle or kind of building on each other, including the surprise of seeing that bus explosion be a key factor in a storyline again, which is really cool. It kind of grounds the universe in history. So I think it'd be really interesting to see more invasions. Ken from Chicago has this prediction: what better revenge against Supergirl, who stole your son, than to destroy the adopted planet the way Krypton destroyed Daxam? Which I think again would play really nice into the kind of cyclical things that we're seeing. And how does Supergirl kind of cope with, probably not losing the whole of Earth, but maybe not being able to do enough at first to save Earth?
Yeah. Ooh, I like that idea, especially with the transporter. The idea of her using it to transport pieces of Krypton to meteor down onto Earth. That'd be neat.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. Ken from Chicago. Fudge, yeah. Yep. That was that. Great. Cool. Does anyone have anything else before we head out?
I liked the quick line, the reference to flying backwards around the Earth and reversing time.
Oh, yes.
Although, that's one of those lines where it's like, I loved it because I'm a fan of many iterations of the Superman mythology. It's obviously a big wink to the original Donner movie with Christopher Reeve, where he famously, or infamously, depending on who you ask, turned back time by flying around the Earth in reverse really quickly. So, of course, I love the line for that reason on a meta level, but in context, doesn't that seem like the sort of thing where if you haven't seen Donner's original Superman movie and she says that, don't you for a second you go, what?
I definitely did. I've seen that movie, but I didn't connect it.
I disagree.
And I'm not saying there's not science that you could have a discussion about it.
Well, no. I think that since she's met the Flash, who has run fast enough to go back in time.
All right.
It makes sense that she's like, man, if I was the Flash, I could totally go back in time. Outside of the context.
You know what? I think what I wanted was for her to turn and look, Melissa Benoist to look right into the camera and go, if I was like my friend Barry on the other CW program, The Flash, I could do. You like that show, guys? Me too. I could do that. And then we jump back into the conversation.
But Barry doesn't run around the Earth, right? I mean, he runs quickly, but it's not around the globe.
Well, I think technically her line was fast enough to go back in time. I don't think it was necessarily around the Earth.
Sure. Okay.
So get your semantics off of my show.
I've got
Table
one thing,
turn.
Tauri, in the chat. They are talking about whether we were talking earlier about characters that are potentially disposable. A lot of people predicting that Maggie might bite the bullet. I'm gonna say that probably will not happen.
Nope.
As we've had a lot of bad lesbian deaths on TV, and Supergirl writers tend to be pretty woke. So let's not. No, Maggie has to stay around because Maggie now lives there forever.
Yeah. I would like to see her stick around for a number of reasons, not the least of which is I don't know that I can live without the golden ray of sunshine that is their relationship.
Yeah, it's so sweet. I'll be so sad if that happens.
One of the most successful relationships on television right now.
Yes.
All right, great. Guys, we gotta wrap this baby up. Thank you for joining us here on AfterBuzz TV. This is the Supergirl After Show. We're here every Monday night at 10 o'clock PDT. There are 3 episodes left, so keep joining us every week. And in between each of the weeks, make sure to join us on social media. Stephanie Wenger, where can they find you?
At Stephanie Wenger. See you guys next week.
I am Lex Michael. I'm all over social media at the Lex Michael. Obviously, like Tauri said, we're here every Monday talking about Supergirl. Tauri and I talking about Arrow every Wednesday night for the rest of the season. And also, you guys, Fargo's back. It's amazing. Twice as much Ewan McGregor as you're going to get anywhere else on TV. Tune in for that. We talk about that on Thursdays. It's amazing. We love you.
Hey guys, I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com. Come over to blackgirlnerds.com right now and check out my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'll be Friday interview with CNN's W. Kamau Bell on his latest show, United Shades of America. Tomorrow we're reviewing Archer? Yes. Thursdays, I've got Genius at 2, Handmaiden's Tales at 3, Knife Hour at 4, and Riverdale at 10. So come join me here. I spend my whole life at AfterBuzz.
Nice. And I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me here at AfterBuzz TV and also at Tauri J. It's TAURIJAY. That's on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find me on the Flash After Show, the Arrow After Show,
Yes.
Doctor Who on Sundays, and always here on the Supergirl After Show. Join us next week. Until then, have a super time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, TV plays for shows.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.